Okay, let's get started. I went live on Facebook, and now I'm going to do the introductory slideshow. That's my intention. Oh dear. I need to screen share. Oh, just a minute before we start. Batool is with us. Hi, Batool.
Hello, hi Miss Karen, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I hope I'm not late on time.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was just going to start the slideshow, and I noticed you were there. Sera is planning to come on also.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Leslie will come on, but I think it would be good if you knew that her husband went to heaven. So anyway, I will continue on with this. I think this is it. Yeah. Welcome to Raising Happy Kids Zoom Show, episode 47. Getting started. Raising happy kids with the one rule. During this 1-hour Zoom show, I focus on sharing tips and lessons on the one rule to raising happy kids. Each episode has at least one example of the one rule in action, demonstrating how, just a minute, I'm going to let Sera in and then we'll continue. How do we do this? Stop share. Hi, Sera.
Hi, Sera.
Hi, hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Batool. Hello, Karen.
Hello, hi, Sera. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
I was just starting the introductory slideshow.
Okay, I'm gonna have to be off camera a little bit here too, but I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm right here.
All right. Let's see. Oh, I have to go back to screen share. Each episode has at least one example of the one rule in action, demonstrating how it helps you raise a happy child. Then when we have guests, we have Q&A and discussion. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony with kids, I bring up one rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. You find a solution that everyone likes. You found agreement. You found harmony. Knowing and following the one rule is all you really need to create harmony between you and your kids. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, use the one rule. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. The one rule: start strong. You have decided that you really want harmony with your child. That sounds so good, right? You've decided that you do not want to make your child do what they do not want to do, and you do not want to do what you do not want to do, and you are going to make this work. You have decided that you want to use the one rule to make this happen. This is going to become your new habit. You remember that when you use the one rule, you are sharing the following messages with your kids. I want us all to be happy. We are each important. Together we can solve our problems. I believe in you. I love you. To create this new habit, you are going to start with yourself and what you want. You decide that you are going to let how you feel about a situation determine whether you agree with it or not. If it feels good, then you can agree with it. If not, you cannot. Ask yourself, is this situation okay with me just as it is? If yes, good. If no, what would have to change, be different, so I could feel good about it? Maybe several versions of this situation would feel fine with you, maybe only one. This exercise, this practice, helps you make a habit of following the one rule. No matter what age your kids are, this exercise helps ensure a strong start and makes following the one rule so much easier. Here is something that might make following the one rule even easier. Recently, I asked myself a question. What do I want people to feel when they are connecting with my work? I definitely want them to feel good about themselves. Then the following answer appeared to my surprise and delight. I want people to realize that they are already using the one rule. That understanding surprised me, and as more and more of it was revealed to me, it delighted me. Of course, people are already using the one rule. I am not teaching them anything they don't know. I'm not teaching them anything strange to them. I'm just helping them expand their use of something they use daily without thinking about it. They use it. You use it. Every time you come to a decision inside of yourself, you're using the one rule. Most likely, you had to consider several options or possibilities to reach that decision, even if it just took you a few seconds for you to agree with yourself. That is what I want. You also use the one rule whenever you agree with someone else. Together, you come to a decision, an agreement. Yes, tomorrow I'll go to the auto parts store after I get my nails done. Even with your kids, you are using the one rule. You're coming to agreements. Think about it. Of course you are. You're just not thinking of it as a rule, as something required. So at times, you are not coming to agreement. I am here to help you think of coming to agreement as required, as a rule, as the one rule. You just expand the situations where you come to agreement until coming to agreement is just what you do and your kids do. It is the rule you and your kids follow. When you use the one rule, you are creating harmony. Your kids are creating harmony. You are becoming used to creating harmony, familiar with how good it feels to everyone involved. One point to be clear on is that even if a situation seems complicated and it seems that it's impossible to find a solution that everyone involved can feel good about, it is still possible. The important thing to remember is that there is a way for things to work, so everyone involved gets to feel good. Keep that in mind. This has been my experience whenever I have made this effort. When you actually start working with your kids using the one rule, helping them follow their interests is one of the easiest ways for you to start. You can understand that, right? It is also one of the most beneficial things you can do for your kids. Why is it good for your kids to do what interests them? One primary reason is that their interest is a key to helping them become the best versions of themselves that they can become. When we do what interests us, we are very engaged and focused. Think about doing something that interests you. When we are engaged and focused, what we do and produce tends to be of much better quality than if we were not interested. Interest helps result in excellence. An even more important result of being engaged and focused is that our whole being is involved in what interests us. That is why we are engaged and focused. We are experiencing harmony, inner harmony. That is a good reason to allow and encourage our kids to do what they are interested in doing. I have observed children doing what really interests them, and they become peaceful, harmonious people, even if they were not before. Now, it does not mean that everything that interests our kids is always going to interest them. They may be interested for 10 minutes or 10 hours or 10 days or 10 years or even a lifetime. The point is following their interests, not the specific thing or experience that interests them. So please help your kids follow their interests if they ask for your help. If for any reason you really do not want to do what they are asking you to do, that is a perfect time to use the one rule. Another reason for helping your kids follow their interests is one that is taking care of you too. When they are eager to do something instead of resisting doing it, you do not have to encourage them to do it or insist that they do it, let alone force them to do it. Think of how much of your time and energy could be available for you to use as you wish. Helping them follow their interests is actually the one rule in action, taking care of you and your kids. I'm glad you're here. Okay. All right. I don't know if you've been here for that slideshow, Batool.
Yeah, I was watching, I was hearing you.
Other times?
The other times, I don't get it.
Okay, yeah, so this is the first time?
The previous one, I was not there because I was unable to join.
Yeah.
But I saw the hints on the Facebook which you shared. Over
Yeah.
there, I just had a, look over there. The last one I messaged you, I was unable to join.
Right.
Today's when I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, this is the new introductory slideshow. So
Yeah, it was new, something new. Like I was even hearing this. There are new things you have added in it. Very nice.
yeah. Yeah. So I just realized sometimes I might do the really short one, depending on, I guess, plans for that day. One thing that I thought of bringing up last week, Sera brought up a question. And it was, what if people don't want to include their children in any decision-making process? And last week, I think it was last week that this happened. My response was in terms of reaching out to people that are more open. But then, because I've been giving a lot of thought to this during the week, it's going to be included in the magazine that I'm almost done with, which is the 4th magazine. And my response will be in there also. But it expanded even beyond that because I realized that one of my primary reasons for doing all of this had to do with children, and children are open to this. They take it on easily. So I started thinking about because I'm sure, well, I know for me, this has come up. And that is to teaching it to children. So I went back and I started finding things that I'd written before, a whole program called the Happy Kids Show. And I just started putting some things together because and I was thinking like one of the ways to get kind of through obstacles like you presented, Sera, is if something is entertaining. And so like the original idea of the Happy Kids show had to do with what kind of like putting on a show where the kids they learn only. When I was doing it, there was no one rule. Now there's the one rule that really speeds things up, because let me just do a quick screen share, if it'll be quick. I think I have it up. Yeah, I think it was this one. Okay. I just wanted to show you, like, that now there's the one rule, right? There's one rule to learn. Now there's a few tips and helpful suggestions, but just knowing the one rule and using it is what you need. But this is what I used to have for teaching. I think all these lessons, and in a way, the one rule, you learn these lessons, but you don't have to focus on learning them. Okay, let's see.
Nice, nice. Really very nice. And Sarah really had a very good question. I believe it's a very
Yes.
important question that should, we should take kids into decision or not. But the thing is that, but in my, like, according to my views, I believe that it depends also that what type of decision are we taking. For example, there are some restricted decisions, controlled one. For example, you cannot allow the kids to have the medicines themselves. Just for example, the appropriate age is written on it that this is under 5 years or whatever it is. Similarly, in decisions also, there are controlled decisions also and open decisions as well. This is what I believe. Secondly, there's no harm in taking them in decisions because you're asking them and they're sharing their views. Now rest is on us to choose it, to implement it, how we are going to implement. Because when we show that we trust them, they trust us. It reflects you back.
Right.
And they sometimes take the whatever the work in which we asked a decision considered as an important part. They won't take it lightly because they themselves have taken part in it, in a discussion. They have listened. And sometimes when we have this open discussion with our kids while taking any kind of decision, so there are some questions in a child's mind as well, because we adults sometimes think that we are more experienced, we know better, and we try to implement things without looking in their minds that there might be tiny questions in it, some small confusion. Maybe if we let them speak, let them share their decision, what they would have done, so they share their views, and then at that time you can explain them at that moment that you have shared your decision, which is a good thing, but the drawback of this decision is this. If you're going to do that, this might happen. So when we take a decision and when we finalize something, we see the risk factors. Where we take less risk, we try to go for that. We can work on a mind map, we can write things, make them an activity, it will show the importance of discussion in a family as well. So I believe wherever we can, ask them or share, take their views, even sometimes show them they are following them also. Let them
Right.
choose their own color of shirt they want to buy. Let them choose their own toy. You just give them a limit that this is my limit. I can buy you a toy for this much. Now choose your toy. When they're choosing them, so tell them just try not to go directly to one choice. Try to have more choices. Then see which is best for you. Which will be, this is how they will learn. Because if we stop them now, so we are stopping their thinkings also, and we
Right.
are taking their confidence also in speaking, because they might think that if we speak, parents might not listen to us, or what's the use of our speaking also, they might not even consider. So this should not be there. And now in this century, I have seen the younger the kids are, the smarter they are. They share you so many ideas they have. So, like I just, you see these students, they are so smart. They tell you where to go, how to do that. Sometimes we get confused with technology. They come and they help us out with that. See, do like that.
Right.
So we should take that part, because we together all the strengths will lead a good decision, and we will, our as a parent also, we will be happy that our kids are with us in this decision. So they have understood how important it is. This is, I believe, that no matter to what extent we can take them, we should. But if there are certain decisions in which we think that students should, like children should not be involved, then at least they should know why are we not involving them in this decision. Maybe we can explain them that your knowledge is this much in it, and we want like this for you, and we know this much better. There should be explanation to clear them up, rather than just imposing something on them, which whether they like or whether they dislike. Because I, as a parent, always discuss with my son from the very beginning. I always discuss, and he always leaves it to me, that you decide, mama, you know the best. We sit together. I forcibly, tell him, you tell me what you want. He said, whatever you want will be best for me. I know that. But still, he shares with me then. He comes to a decision, and then finally he goes, what I want. Most of the time it goes like that. And sometimes I even fall what he wants also. We do equal them. So, I think so, because it will develop a good friendly relation also. Most, I believe, trusting the parents, and parents trusting their children. When you take their decision, you show how much you trust them, because they always trust you, because they are restricted, they always follow our decision. We put them in a school, we decide this, we cook whatever it is, so they follow it. They also have the right to speak, I believe, and we should not deprive them of this right. So it's a good thing. Wherever you can involve in discussion, you should have this friendly discussions, and kids should take part in it. Kids, grandparents, parents, and that will be also a nice way. Then when grandparents are also involved, they might share there, then their parents will share there, and the kids will share there. And finally, a friendly, conclusion will come out. This is what I believe.
Yeah, that that sounds good. Like the results of using the one rule would be like that.
Yes.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. One rule. Yeah, same thing. It's the same thing. One rule.
Right.
The one rule reflects over here.
I think when I asked that question, Karen, I was thinking of Katerina. I've not made any more progress actually on sending her the slideshow, but or the illustrators. I've been with a lot of things this week. We had some Global Women Peace Network things,
Uh-huh.
the meeting about Korea, and then also the online forum about Korea, and then now the online forum about health and wellness. Terry Liggins was on that actually. I don't know if you remember Terry Liggins here in Las Vegas.
I think I met her.
Yeah,
I know the name.
she came to a couple of her story things that I think you were there as well.
Yeah, I think so.
but she moved to Columbus, Ohio, but we still keep in touch with her
Oh.
a lot. And she comes back to Las Vegas from time to time, and some of her friends are here, and her daughter's in LA, and her son's in the Bay Area. But I was thinking about Katerina in New York with the Women's Federation for World Peace office, because she is a young mom, and she has a lot of, well, she's starting to make new programs called like hashtag YOMO, meaning young mothers. She did this one really good one for young mothers, and not what it was about at the moment is I'm drawing a blank. I should remember what it was. It was really good. I can't remember, but that's what I was thinking about her, because I've been around a Montessori environment, like in a preschool,
Yeah.
where the children are really given like really wide latitudes of choices, you know?
Yes.
And then I saw when the kids came in from other preschools that it was completely regimented, completely on a schedule, and they really needed to know, what am I supposed to do next? You know, what am I supposed to do? So they didn't really have any access to their own interests necessarily. And then we just had to really take them one by one and say, I really like this. What do you like? You know, without addressing the question exactly.
Right.
And then you could say, well, it's a little bit like free time, you know, that you can choose what the thing is that you like, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then, you know, then they didn't, but we learned that if you told them the whole day was free time, then that was wrong idea. They thought that they were never supposed to really focus on anything. And they would just run around and just pull on other people when they were doing something that they were really interested in, you know, that they weren't really learning something. So it was different. It's not the idea of just free time. It's like following your interest isn't being not interested in anything, you know.
Right.
Following your interest doesn't mean just getting everybody to pay attention to you.
Right.
You know,
Unless you're performing.
right,
Yeah.
right. Unless you're really doing something for the interest of others, you know.
Right.
So when I was thinking of like, what about people who are not used to or have never experienced seeing any kind of Montessori experience, you know, never seeing something like that actually working out, where the children were not really just in a very controlled environment. Like when I went to high school, I went to most of my high school in the regular school system. But in my last year of high school, I went to a school called the New School of Santa Fe. There was a, I think it was in New York or somewhere. They had an, or maybe California. It was called the New School, and it was in the 70s, and it was just this kind of experiment where it was just actually kind of focusing people on their own um, self-written self. I mean, they had to really focus and really draw up their own schedule or their own curriculum. And they actually, even without the internet, they still had to research and decide what class they were going to take from, you know, these books, the library, or the different teachers that were there. But in my case, you had certain requirements to fulfill, but it was up to you on what time of the day you did which subjects you had signed up for. And the teachers were always available, and you just had to go into their room and then show them where you were at, what you were working on, and then say, okay, go for it, come back if you get stuck, you know. And then the kids, it was a little bit like online learning, but you had the teacher there, you know, but it was like that type of independent study. So that was my first year of high school. And tell you the truth, I missed a little bit the framework of the school bell, you know, reminding you of how much time you've been in a certain place and get yourself to a different place, you know, because sometimes you would get behind in some subject that you were having a little bit more difficulty with, but it was a requirement, and you had to like make more time for it. And then, so you know what I mean? When it was the self-structured, you know, I guess maybe there weren't as many checkups as there could have been to keep people on track. And most of the time we did really well, but at the same time, so it's the same type of situation. Like we were teenagers, but if you've got the preschoolers in there, or not preschoolers necessarily, but you know, elementary school children, or I mean, and it's just in your home, right? All this kind of decision making is what I'm talking about, is like including the children. But I think when you do lay the groundwork first, like, okay, we all want to live in a clean house, you know, what are you willing to contribute, you know, and when are you going to do that? And then they can choose, they can decide, and you can work together. And then they have to be accountable for their choice, right? They can't just say it and not do it, right? And so I think, like you said, when they're small, they're very eager and they're very good at this. They're very good at making harmony because they're very empathetic. When they get older, maybe they may be less, or they may be more easily attracted to video games or something that they don't remember what they promised, or something like that, you know, but without too much hassle. You know, I think you can really maybe get back to reminding them, you know, we really had a great discussion about this, so let's go ahead and get it done, you know. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to think of. Katerina, if I gave her these materials, what would she face in other people if she wanted to, yeah, or how to get people into understanding that there's a lot that you can include children in on as far as decisions. Like Batool was saying, there is going to be some decisions that they're not really included in, you know, buying the house or the car or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but that these young moms and dads, they can understand that the children can be included in so many decisions, and you can have a lot more harmony, you know, and we can be accountable to them for the time that we promise them. Don't go back on our promises. And that they can be accountable too, you know, what the chores or the contributions that they sign up for, that they can feel that sense of accomplishment of actually doing those things, you know.
Yeah. I actually found that I remember one time I set up a file box, and it had all the chores that were for each day. And actually I found that often my children would take on more than I would think, you know, that they would say, oh, I want this one, this one, this one, like that. And
how old were they then?
They were like at least elementary. I'm thinking my oldest daughter might have been in junior high at the time. Yeah.
So there, you know, when you are in a kind of a place where you take pride in your work, and you can feel like, oh, I know how to do that job, you know, and I can do it well, you know.
Right.
And it doesn't seem like something that's infringing on me. It's not, you know what I mean? Sometimes kids today, they feel like very entitled or something like that. At least in America, it's gotten really horrible, where they feel like, you know, I'm here, you know, and it's your job to you know, buy me this or buy me that, and to let me be with my friends, or let me be online, 24 hours a day or something like that. That's your job. And you're supposed to, have a good house, a good roof over my head, or good food, or, some food, or, something like that. And it's, I know for parents, I mean, yeah, it's not easy right now in America, and a lot of marriages are breaking. The friends of my kids in school, getting through COVID and things like that. So yeah, it's not an easy time. And then all the mask mandates in the schools and things like that, and the little kids that, the teachers are taking down their masks to shout at the children, keep your mask on, no, you can't go to the bathroom, unless, or you have to get an air break or a water break. It was pretty bad. But next year it should be out of the way, I think, coming up this next year. But I don't know how much actual learning they lost.
Right.
It's not easy, the parenting and the education right now for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Go ahead, Batool.
Yeah, like every time is different. Our upbringing was with a different way. Nowadays, kids are different. But I believe, like I always say, that in schools also, parents should be, educate, like called and have a meeting with them, that there should be uniformity in many things. For example, I believe if teachers and like educators and parents sit together and make a decision that we are not going to give children mobile at this age, or we are not going to give them more screening timing than this time, for example only 1 hour or 2 hours, and that will be in a uniformity, like all parents agree, and then educators as well. So when kids they talk amongst each other also, they will hear that yes, I'm getting a screen time of 1 hour, the other parent will also say the same thing. So they might feel it, yes, it's like this, okay, it's going with everyone, okay, not only us, it's with everyone. So this is also something, because sometimes what I have noticed nowadays, due to technology, I know it's a blessing, it's had made life easier, but it has distracted also. And and I believe giving iPads or whatever devices too early to the kids, so we are taking their creativity from them, because usually now kids are looking everything in Google. If you give them homework, they search in the Google. If you even now, people also, I have seen many women also, men also searching that why am I having a stomach pain in a Google. So like Dr. Google has become a Google, like I can say like that a doctor. But the thing is, whether no matter what search engine, whether it's Google, whether it's no any other bing.com or whatever it is, there should be some, not only like for the children, like we should only talk to the kids, but parents also need to get awareness how to deal with certain situations. There are times, and sometimes every kid is also not same. I cannot say that handle the same way you handle this kid, handle the same way that kid. That is also something which is very challenging for the kids, because even in a family, all of the members are not same, their choices are not same. A
Yeah,
mother
every
can
child is
easily,
different, so different,
yes,
each one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, each child is different, each child's preferences is different, choices are different. So how can in a class also even a teacher can judge all of them equally? But the thing is, there are ways, like one rule is there. So that is something which is bonding them, bringing them together to reach to a conclusion and ask a decision. And yes, controlled things, like just now Sarah said that like which house to buy or whatever, yes, these things are there, which obviously kids can't take the decision, because we know how much our pocket is allowing us or whatever is our expenses, and kids are too young to understand these things. Sometimes like some parents, if they want to explain their kids is way too expensive, I usually try to encourage them not to talk about money with the kids right now. Their age is too young. They should not think about whether we are unable to afford or whatever. They should take it. That's not a choice for us right now. Simple. we have better choices. We will like this one. There are ways to explain to the kids rather than making them feel that this is not in our range and we cannot buy. This is way too expensive. Sometimes there are ways to deal. How are we dealing the kids? And then kids do understand it, because always when we like keep on explaining them, this is very expensive, this is very expensive, one day they are going to like everything is very expensive, whatever I touch you say is very expensive. So there are ways we can tell them that this is not a better choice. I believe this is a good choice. See, this is the same thing, and this has more functions in it, or this place is more better. You look at the views. There are ways, just how we are handling the kids, how you are showing it. And like the same thing, half glass water, or the glass is half filled with the water or half empty. The
Mm,
same thing. So how you are
right.
showing the picture, that matters a lot. And the more positivity the kids can gain from their parents, the more stronger they are for the outer world, because their inner world is this house which makes them strong to face the outer world, especially when they are growing and in the youth age. That's the most critical time in their teens time. That is the most, I believe, important time. Also, every age has their own significance. Like the early years has a different significance, similarly teens have different. So like we expect them to understand, similarly we ourselves also have to understand that our son is not a 2-year-old kid anymore, or a 3-year-old kid anymore. We can't expect him to say in front of the friends something. We can't tell him like this. He has his own dignity, his own respect in front of his friends also. So let's talk in a proper way, like call him and talk to him. There are many ways, just like how we adopt it, because respect is what most important, that kids should never lose the respect of the parents from their hearts. It should not be a fear. It should be respect and love.
And the thing that I learned and share is that the adult is the model for
True.
the children. So if you want them to be respectful, then it is very important that you model that to them, not
Yes.
just ask it from them, but show them by being respectful with them how
True.
that's
Right.
done, so that they can see, they can learn all the details of it. Ah, I do this. Oh, okay. And it happens. This I know for a fact, because respect was my primary vehicle in those days. And it's one of the main things that I talked about and shared and wrote about and did. And children who are treated respectfully automatically treat everybody respectfully. It just
Yes.
comes out of
Yes.
them that way.
Yes. Yes. That is really very important. When parents shout or something like that, the kids learn these things.
Yes,
Then take sometimes
exactly.
their anger out, because they think that this is the way you deal when no one hears
Yeah,
you. This
that's
is the
right.
how you. So that is something really very important, that parents should be calm. And this like kids, they observe the way the father is speaking, the way mother is speaking, and even they learn from us that how we are crossing, like passing through the obstacles, how we are dealing those
Right,
situations at that time.
right.
Because when we grow up, like we give example, like I remember the time how my dad hand was not working and how my mom supported. I remember I was a kid at that time, but I remembered how my father bravely dealt with that situation at that time. So these things as a kid is in my memory at that time, stored in my memory. And I try to use those things, that my father never shouted at me and how he has dealt with me. So I believe those things reflects. Obviously it will take time, but they will definitely reflect.
Yes, they will.
Like
I'm
what
gonna
you
have-
like what that you reap.
Hmm? What we
I was thinking about sometimes it's hard for the parents who don't spend a lot of time with their kids. Like in America, the dad comes home from work and they just have like 1 hour or maybe 2 hours together in the evening, or the mom might be working as well, and the children are often in school or in a neighbor, somebody else's house after school as well, until the
right,
parents make it home. And how can they, you know, have that base with their children that really establishes that trust and that connection. And of course, that's kind of probably when they're older. Uh, but these days, a lot of children spend a lot of time in preschools and daycare. You know,
right.
yeah, I think it's a challenge, and the material of the one rule and things is helpful for those parents as well.
Well, I was thinking that what I showed you earlier about all those, like, I think it might be the 108 even in there, I'm not sure. But, and how the one rule kind of encompasses all of that. It takes care of a lot of that. You don't have to learn those details, even though those details are helpful and useful to know. So what resulted last night out of this thinking about that question you asked, Sarah, was that I think I'm going to put in the book, the one rule book. I think I'm going to include a game that the parents and children could play together.
Is that like the card game?
Yeah, like, but not a card game, because that takes a lot to put together. So if I've started already creating the basics of this game, because a lot of it I've given thought to in the past. I was talking about this Happy Kids show, so it's kind of like a mini version of that. It's just learning the basics of the one rule and how to use it for dealing with problem situations, because that's what the one rule's for, is to deal with where there are differences, which happens a lot, but differences that could lead to conflict. That's when you use the one rule, so that you can smoothly go through things that could end up in conflict. Instead, they keep you going on harmony. So anyway, I've started putting that together. I think I've pretty much got it. And so I'll send you out a new version of the book when I have that completed.
I'm gonna have to leave a little tiny bit early today.
You're gonna go to the UPF thing?
I am. I just have. There's one thing I need to do in between.
Okay.
So go and do that, and I'll go in a tiny bit late to the UPF forum.
Okay.
But yeah. But I'm glad to be with you today. Good to hear you too, Batool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Take care,
I'll
Sarah.
try-
And you have given a very beautiful thought also. What about those mothers and parents who are working continuously? How do they give their time to the kids?
Yes.
It's a very beautiful thought, and we should discuss about, I believe, this also.
Yes.
Because this is another, thing that how to deal with this. hopefully, if we get time in the next, we might discuss something about this also. It's a very, very important thought which you have given. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. I'll see you again next week, or maybe we connect on Facebook as well. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Take care,
Bye.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. A very nice show, Miss Karen. And I think this is 47th episode,
Yeah,
right?
it
So
is.
3 more to go and you have done half century.
Yeah, I was thinking though, I started, this is just with the name of the Raising Happy Kids Zoom show, because before it was a different name, and there were, I don't know, maybe 17 episodes of that. So anyway.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. And the word kids themselves give you more positive energies, because I believe kids are so innocent and so strong in positive energies. When you even
I
talk
agree.
about them, you feel energetic,
What?
because the energies are very pure from the kids coming to us.
Yes. That's why.
Talking about them is very important. They are our future.
Right. Yeah.
It's a very nice show. Thank you so much, Miss Karen. Hope to see you
I'm
next
so
week.
glad you were
Thank
on.
yeah. I was just waiting and I set the time that I would not miss at any cost.
Yeah.
And because there's some things going at place, I told you in the message. So because of that, a little bit mind is also diverted, busy
Right.
with that, but I try to manage.
Yeah.
So I just wanted, because I feel energetic after, attending your show and, hearing from you. It's a blessed feeling. Thank you so much, Miss Karen. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. I really like this too a lot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Love and blessings.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Yeah. See you.
Okay. Okay, well, that's it for today. I did have things chosen, and the new game will be included so that people have an easy way to transition into using the one rule instead of ways that don't feel so good to everyone. So I hope everybody has a great week and that things go harmoniously in your family. Love and blessings to everyone.